This is a review of writing line equations. Believe it or not, you're going to be writing line equations again in this course, and especially when you get to AP Calculus. It's part of the curriculum. So we're going to start with the line equation that most kids know. The formal name of it is called the slope-intercept form of a line. And it's called slope-intercept form because we have y equals mx plus b. M represents the slope, and b represents the y-intercept. As a coordinate, b would be 0, b. We use this form quite a bit, and it's typically used when you are given the slope and the y-intercept, so you can directly write your line equation. Now, even though we use y equals mx plus b quite a bit, the one that you're going to use more often in calculus is called point-slope form. And it's actually a lot easier to write the line equation, especially if you're given the slope and a single point. So if you want to write the line equation, the equation of a line with a slope m and passing through point x1, y1, here it is. This is point-slope form. It's y minus y1, and that's equal to the slope m times x minus x1. So y and x are your variables, and you'll have a number for the y1, y sub 1, x sub 1, and the slope. But you don't have to do anything else with it. That's the beauty of this form, is you leave it just like that. So it takes one step to write this line equation. So here's an example to show you how easy this is. I have a slope of 1/2, and I'm passing through the point 3, -2. Well, here's my x1 and here's my y1, so it takes one step to write this equation. Y minus a -2, so it's the opposite sign, and that's equal to 1/2 times the quantity x minus 3. You don't have to distribute, you don't have to add the opposite. This is your final answer. The nice thing about this form is you can have any strange coordinate. It doesn't have to be whole numbers, and your slope can be any strange number, and there's no dealing with the fractions or anything to find the y-intercept because we just don't care. So in this case, I have a slope of -2/3, and I'm passing through the point 0.6 and 0.11. So it's just, this is x1, this is y1. I always like to label that, but you don't have to. Y minus 0.11 is equal to -2/3 times x minus 0.6. And that's it. So the only time it gets slightly complicated is if you're given 2 points instead of a slope in the point. But if you have that, calculate the slope. And then use the form that I just gave you. So the slope, remember, slope is change in y over change in x, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you can label this x1, y1, x2, y2. So if I'm going to find the slope, it could be -1 minus 7 over 4 minus 3. And you end up with -8. Once you have that, it doesn't matter which point you choose. You can choose 3, 7 or 4, -1. You will get an equivalent expression. It won't look exactly the same, but it'll be equivalent. So if I use 3, 7, I have y minus 7 is equal to -8 times x minus 3. And that's it. So we're going to review some properties of parallel lines and then properties of perpendicular lines. Parallel lines, they're parallel because they have the same slope. So if we're going to write a line equation parallel to another line, there's a process that we want to use. So what you're going to do is steal the slope. You're going to steal the parallel slope to write the new line equation. And we're going to do that in an example coming up. So here's an example of where you're going to use this. We want to write the equation of the line passing through the point 2, -3 parallel to this line equation. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to do the following steps. First thing you're going to have to do is solve this equation for y. You want to get y by itself. So let's do that. We're going to, if I add y to both sides, I'm going to end up with 4x plus 3 is equal to y. So that's my original line equation. Y is equal to 4x plus 3. Then what you're going to do, you're going to steal the slope from that equation. So the slope is 4, which means the slope for my new equation is going to be 4. M is equal to 4. Finally, you're going to use that slope and the original point that you were given to write the new line equation. So my last step is going to be y plus 3 is equal to 4 times x minus 2. And that's it. You steal the slope, you use that point, and you write your new line equation. The last thing we're going to review is perpendicular lines. And perpendicular lines have a different type of property with their slopes. So perpendicular lines, their slopes are negative reciprocals. That means you need to take the slope, you need to flip it, and change the sign. So you would steal the slope, reciprocate it, which we just say flip, and as I said, change the sign. So if the slope was originally positive, you make it negative. If it was originally negative, you make it positive. Now we have other terms that mean perpendicular, and you're going to see these terms in this class and in calculus, and you might have also seen them in a class like physics. Okay, one of those terms is called normal. Lines are normal. If lines are normal, they are perpendicular to each other. If you had physics and you think of the frictional force, there was a normal force that was perpendicular to the frictional force, so it's the same kind of meaning. The other one is called orthogonal. Let me make sure I can spell it right. Orthogonal. That also means perpendicular. So you could see both of those terms in this class. So we're going to finish with an example, and it says, write the equation of the line passing through 3, negative 5, normal to 2x minus 3y plus 6. So normal means perpendicular, and we're going to follow the same steps. We need to get y by itself. So if I add 3y to both sides, I get 2x plus 6 is equal to 3y. I can write that with the y on the left-hand side. Just spin the entire equation around and then divide each term by 3. I get y is equal to 2/3 x plus 2. I'm going to steal this slope. So the original slope is 2/3. From that, I need the perpendicular slope. The perpendicular slope is going to be negative 3/2. So now I have my new slope and I have my point. It's just one step. For the answer, y minus a negative 5 is equal to negative 3/2 times x minus 3. That's all you have to do. So we will be doing more of these in class and also looking at special lines, y equals and x equals lines, and practicing all of this.